I have a question, actually. This just came out. You can't answer it, can't rip, unfortunately. Because it's about brothers and sisters.
Okay. Yeah.
So how did... Because, obviously, let's say there's two siblings or 3 siblings in my house. How was it decided who gets which bedroom in your house?
That's a good question. Well,
Did you ever ask?
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Squid Game.
Because
Squid Game.
I am the middle son, right?
Right.
And I got the tiniest room.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, I think for us, we got lucky because the house that I grew up in, or I was born in, was like bought just at the same time as they got that house. So I basically got first dibs, right? Because my sister wasn't born yet.
Oh, so you got to choose.
It wasn't. I wasn't like a 3-year-old being like, father, this room is a little larger than the other one.
Well, you know what's funny? That's exactly what my parents fucking did.
Really?
They asked me when I was like 2 or whatever, which room I wanted.
Gosh, when you were 2.
I don't know, like at an age where I cannot comprehend what I am doing. Right?
It's a big space either way, right? For a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fine. This is great. I literally chose like the Harry Potter closet. And I'm like, Mum, don't fucking believe what 2 or 3-year-old Connor chose. Why would you do that?
His mum comes out with the contract. Is this
like,
you? This your name?
this
I've got the receipts.
Did you sign this?
You signed by blood.
Did you sign this?
I'm like, what the fuck is this? I would never choose it. You know I would have never chosen
I got the room which was right next to my parents' room because obviously I was the firstborn child, right?
Yeah.
And then my sister got the last room,
Yeah.
which just so happened to be next to the toilet.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember she would complain, being like, because I think our rooms were pretty much the same size. Like it might have been minor differences, but it didn't really matter. It was roughly the same size. But I remember my sister used to complain, being like, well, at least you're not fucking in a room where like every time someone has to take a shit in the middle of the night, you get woken up by it. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, that sounds like a you.
But also,
problem.
you're closest to the toilet, so that's
exactly. That's
true.
what I said. I was
True.
like,
That's an advantage.
that's a perk.
Yeah.
I'm wondering comments if you have brothers and sisters or whatever. How was it decided which room was given to?
Can't relate.
Or were you all just shoved into one room?
Can't relate.
That's
Yeah,
also-
well,
can't relate.
actually, yeah. When we were like really little, my sister and I obviously just slept in the same room in the same bed, right? And then it's probably maybe when I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 that I finally got to pick one of the rooms. But like, I don't remember there being like a ritualistic fucking Squid Game of like,
Well, it wasn't.
now
It
fight
was-
to the
It
death.
was just apparently I chose this room, which is.
Do you remember choosing the room?
No, of course not. I don't. I remember I'd asked my parents later on. I was like, "Wait, I chose it." I'm like, "Why would you listen to me? Why? I am not in the right mind. I do not have. I cannot make good decisions."
Yeah. I mean, it was probably massive to you when you chose it. The room.
Yeah. It was tiny.
Yeah.
I was like, you could like. There was no place to put more than like a single bed. Not that I would ever need more than a single
Yeah.
bed. But like even if I wanted bigger, there was actually no space to put it anywhere.
Yeah.
And so it was just like.
But of course,
so
you
small.
talking about that, right? Like you obviously remember it different to your parents, right? So
Yeah.
I guarantee
Yeah.
your parents are going to remember it and recall it differently, being like, "Oh, I specifically remember Connor fucking volunteering as tribute." Being like, "Yes, I will take the smallest room for the family."
Going back to like weird events your parents are taking you to. So I remember I think the weirdest thing, well, not the weirdest, but the thing that sticks out in my mind right now is my parents or my mum once took me to a meditation meetup. Okay, I think it was a meditation meetup. Okay, so I think what happened is, so my mum's like Buddhist.
Yeah.
So, as a Buddhist, this was before like I became like a monk or a kid monk or anything like
Right.
that. So, sometimes you pray or you meditate for good karma and all that stuff.
Right.
Sometimes my mum would go to like these Buddhist meetups or these meditation meetup where what you do at this meetup is you go there and you meditate for about an hour in like darkness. Right.
Okay.
So
Wait, with a bunch of other people?
with a bunch of other people,
okay.
right? So like I was about 7 years old when this happened, right? So I think like at that time, like there was no one to take care of me at home or something. I don't know why, but my mom was like, "Grant, you're coming with me. We're gonna meditate." And I remember her framing it in a way where we're just gonna meditate for a little bit, like 5 minutes or something. That's what it was in my head, right? I didn't know how long I would be sitting still for at this meetup. I thought because she taught me how to meditate, and we'd do it for like 10 to like 15 minutes at most, right? That's what I thought I was getting into. So we get there. I remember like the head guy was just like, "Hey, thank you all for coming. So we're going to be sitting here. I'm going to hit the gong and we're going to turn off the lights and we're going to just sit here for an hour. And after the hour's on, I'm going to hit the gong again."
Squid Game. You turn the lights on. half people are dead. Now.
And so I remember thinking, what the fuck? I've got to sit here in silence for an hour. What? I was 7 years old. I couldn't like sit still for
hour
5
is a
minutes,
long
let alone
time.
a fucking hour.
It's like solving the God equation.
So I remember like sitting down. I'm like fucking panicking, trying to figure out how the fuck I am going to sit here for an hour. I look over to my mum. My mum's just like already like fucking in the zone.
Yeah.
She's already
She's
ready.
long gone.
She's done it. She's long gone. She's in another fucking dimension right now. And so he hits the gong. Luckily, they have a clock in the room, so you can see how much time goes past.
Yeah.
Now, what you're meant to do during meditation is like you are meant to just clear your mind, right? The point of an hour is that it shouldn't feel like an hour because to your mind, it should be as empty as possible. So you shouldn't really feel the passage of time, or you should feel it less than usual.
Right.
You know, that's the entire like zone you're supposed to get in with meditation. So I remember thinking, all right, Gant, you got this. You've meditated for 15 minutes, you can do an hour. And I remember sitting there, and to me, I'm like, I think about 40 minutes has passed. Let me sneak over at the clock. I look over, 5 minutes has gone by. I'm just like, oh fuck! I start fucking sweating. I look around.
How are you seeing the clock in the dark?
Huh? It was like one of the glow in the dark clocks
Oh, okay.
with like luminescence.
That makes it even harder not to look as a kid.
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to look,
Yeah.
at
Ooh,
the-
pretty.
I want to look at the glowing thing.
So I'm just like, so I come up with this five head strategy, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm at that point I was fucking obsessed with Pokemon, right? So
Who wasn't?
who wasn't? So like I remember like back in the day I had like recorded like an entire season of Pokemon, and that was like my only entertainment. So I had like watched this VHS of this recording of Pokemon like fucking 10-20 times,
As you
right?
do, as you do.
10-20 times. So I think to myself, how am I going to get through an hour? I got a 5-head idea. What if I just watch 3 episodes of Pokemon in my mind? and if I watched 3 episodes of Pokemon in my mind, an hour would have passed, right? So I remember.
What is this fucking serial experiments lane? Like,
So I escape into the chasm of
Jacking
my
into my
mind.
mind.
Is this the metaverse?
I like entered the metaverse in my mind, and I just start watching. I just start playing the episodes of Pokemon that I can remember. Unfortunately, I think some gaps were missed off because I remember like watching in my mind 3 episodes, looking at the clock. And half an hour had gone by. So I'm just like, okay, maybe time moves differently in my mind.
I got a gold split on watching Pokemon.
So I think I watched an entire season of Pokemon in my mind.
Your mind was just like, all right, cutting out all the filler right now. Only the important
So
information.
I think I got through an entire fucking season, and then I finally hear the gong, and I'm like, thank fuck. And I remember afterwards, like, some of my mum's friends comes over to her and be like, well, I'm like so impressed with your son. Like, how did you sit there for an hour? Like, my son can't concentrate on anything for 5 minutes. I'm so impressed with your son. And I'm just like, they don't know. I just watched Pokemon for an hour.
Meanwhile, you are drenching in sweat. You're like, what does Ash say again in this episode?
Yo, Ash was about to get to the Indigo League, man. You stopped at a fucking good point, man.
How the fuck did you do that? That's insane.
This man literally opened up his third eye by reciting Pokemon in his head.
Anime companies hate this one trick to letting you rewatch the anime. You
wouldn't recite Pokemon, would
That's
you?
the real secret to like reaching enlightenment. You don't empty your mind. You just watch an entire season. You just watch One Piece in your mind, and you just reach enlightenment.
Could you do that now?
I could not do that now.
I could watch a show and then couldn't do that immediately after.
Because that was back in the day when you were a kid and you had like that one thing that you watched over and over.
Oh, yeah,
You could just like recite it. Like I remember I could probably like recite the entire movie of Toy Story or something in my mind, just because I had watched it so many times.
Oh, damn.
You know.
I have some movies like that too. I could probably recite the entirety of Pulp Fiction. That's just because I've seen it so many fucking times.
Bet.
Right now, 3.5 hour movie. Let's go.
Well, if you need to meditate for that long, that's like
when I need to meditate, I'm just like. I'm just like,
say what again? Say what again?
I dare you. I'm double dare you, motherfucker. You know what they call quarter pounder with cheese in France?